Why do you think 2020, Trump only got 9% of the African-American vote, and Democrats have owned the black vote for decades, since 64. Why do you think it's 22% now to Trump?
I think that there's several reasons, okay? Now, do I know whether or not that's going to translate to the polls on Election Day?
Yeah.
I do not know. Do I think he's going to get 22% of the black vote? I want to be careful. No, I don't. But minority vote is a different thing. The Latino community is the most robust growth and voting bloc in this country. Asian Americans writ large, right? Not just, Chinese, Japanese, but that entire region, Southeast Asia included, East Asia included, is also very robust. He gets a lot of those voters also. Why? Disgust is in high demand. People are disgusted. I sit in many rooms like this with people who agree with you guys about nothing, but they match your anger. They are very, very angry. I sit and meet and talk to minority people who feel betrayed. They're driven nuts by the migrant situation because so much of the emergency services that get sucked up by that population are in their communities. The change in policing that was supposed to be for them on the left flank has made them more endangered in their communities. The economic recovery, while everybody likes to brag about how good it's been for minorities, they don't feel it. Now, it's not fair to put them all in one block. There are plenty of rich minorities, yes, but socioeconomically, you have a disproportionate distribution, right? As you go down the socioeconomic ladder, relatively, you start having more and more minorities, right? You have more poor white people in the country than poor black people, but by percentage, it's different. That's why they're reconsidering it. That we are in a time of change, and Joe Biden is not getting it done for the Democrats. He is not making their message. He does not seem like, the joke will be, we may not even make it. But he is failing to connect with their base, and they will move. People will move. It can take time, but we are at a low point in our party politics. We have never had two unanimously bad choices for president before in our history.
Yeah, 2016 was pretty rough. But
can you play this clip, Rob? And the reason why I'm asking this question,
Hillary Clinton,
is,
for all her negatives, no one thought she was going to drop dead. I mean, I know they played.
Yes, no, I get your point. No, listen, it's a fair point.
Do you think black people trust Fauci?
It depends on who they listen to.
Can you play this clip, Rob?
It depends on what you take
I want to show you two clips. Go play this clip. Go ahead.
How you guys doing with vaccine?
I haven't gotten it yet. I'm waiting for them to be able to.
Oh, you should get it first. Okay, that way you won't give it to them.
Oh, I thought I would give it to them if I get it.
No, not at all. In fact, we got to get you vaccinated so that if you were to get infected, you could pass it on to them. So you're actually protecting your family by getting them vaccinated.
Well, I heard that it doesn't cure it, and it doesn't.
That's true.
Stop you from getting it.
No.
So
on the very, very, very rare chance that you do get it, even if you're vaccinated, you don't even feel sick. It's like you don't even know you got infected. It's very, very good at protecting you.
Just the Anacostia, so get up there. Okay.
All right, see you later.
Thank you. Have a good day.
The people in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot on a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
It's much more serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
Well, the number that you all giving that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely.
All
Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, it's something else going on with that. Something else going on.
It is something going on.
There's something else.
You're
going
right.
on.
But I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city.
Well,
but I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what
Dude,
this
the best part is he keeps talking shit while they walk away.
That's you knew there was a camera.
By the way,
How beautiful is that, man?
for sure.
Dude, I gotta, after this, I gotta go down to Baltimore. I gotta, with that video, and try to find that house so I can just salute that guy. Isn't it just amazing that, what's crazy about it is here you have Fauci and these local Baltimore politicians going through the hood in Baltimore, knocking on doors, and they're wrecking him. And it's not even like, listen, with hindsight 2020, because at the time, they were putting out the video and mocking those, these dumb black people in the inner city don't know what's going on. They were right. And Fauci was wrong. And Fauci was totally, it should be, I mean, you should lose your license. You should be shunned from society. For him to make the claim, to look at somebody when none of the trials and none of the data at the time supported this idea that if you get it, you might get sick, but you won't even feel it, and you can't give it to anybody else. This was nonsense. And I heard, actually, by the way, Jay Bhattacharya, who wrote the foreword to this book, he said at the time, he goes, whoa, Fauci is way overplaying his hand. None of the data justifies him making this claim.
It's not none of the data.
Is.
Here's where they were wrong, okay? They weren't wrong. Here's where it didn't become what they wanted it to be. Look.
No, they were wrong.
Here's where
I know
wrong.
many people who got the vaccine and got COVID and were very sick and gave it to other people.
With
so
the
they
later
were wrong.
variants. With the later variants. So do I. I know people too. You'd be surprised.
By the way, these are, just to be clear here, just in case, because all this time gets muddled together, okay?
Yeah.
These are the later variants. The vaccine was not available for the first variant, okay? The vaccine was not available. These are all the later variants are what we're talking about here.
No, that's not true. You had it for the second and third, and then it really dropped off. The first, look, again, the idea that you guys enjoy the owning, I think is part of the problem, okay? I know there's something satisfying about it, and it works great for media and for clips and to get you enragement. But it doesn't move the ball.
Chris, man, dude, you're telling me we could play that video of the way you and all your colleagues demonized the unvaccinated? Were they not trying to own us? It's only I'm the one who wants to own.
Vaccinated,
no, it's in response.
Not getting vaccinated mattered.
Yes, it's in response to all of you guys trying to own us for years from all of the halls of power.
Fine.
That now that you were wrong about everything, we're going to point that out.
Fine.
Yes.
Well, hold on. Two things. One, vengeance. Good. I hope it feels good. If you think it's going to stop it from happening again, you're wrong. You're wrong. I don't think it's vengeance either. I'm saying if that's the instinct, you tried to own us, we're going to try to own you. That's not true. But that's why I'm here, okay? And that's why I have a show that has guys like you on more than any other show on television, okay?
They changed the definition of vaccine to fit that vaccine.
It is true.
They changed the definition of vaccine not for this vaccine. They changed it when they started doing RNA. This is technically not a vaccine because it doesn't make you immune. Now, here's what they got wrong. They do the testing in record time, right, which nobody was upset with when Trump was president, but it gets done.
Lots of people
They were quiet. 95% they say efficacy. What did that mean? 95% was severe illness, symptoms that you could recognize that may hospitalize you. That's what they didn't have, not sick. They then took that and made it into a cell of, so if you take the vaccine, does that mean like polio, you don't get it? No. That means that even if you get it, you won't be that sick. And then here's the mistake they made. Because you don't have that much virus in you and you're not that sick, you probably won't pass it on to somebody else. And that was a big part of the sell that became less and less true over time. And the messaging didn't stay.
Okay,
and you
but
would
by
call
the way,
that a therapeutic.
But well,
That's
by the
right.
way,
at best.
as somebody who was, you know, and I agree with what you're saying. We were in different positions. You were the #1 show at CNN. I was doing a podcast on the internet. But as somebody who was not in that bubble that you were in, and was talking to experts who were outside of the establishment, the idea that there were going to be variants of this virus and that the vaccine would do a worse and worse job with all of the variants was the easiest thing to predict.
That's not true.
And experts did predict this.
That's not,
yes.
no, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying that the people they were using to do the measurements did not see it. And then,
No, the people
when it
you were
happened,
talking to didn't. The people I was talking to did see
you were,
this
so you were
coming.
talking to people at the NIH and the CDC who was doing
No,
the
that's the whole point. I wasn't. So I was talking, but
Listen.
there were plenty of experts outside. See, this is the problem here, Chris, is that you, which is the exact opposite of what the journalist's job is to do, is that you hold up here the government officials as if they're the real experts and nobody else is an expert.
That's not true.
I just gave you a book that was written by Tom Woods, has a degree from Harvard and Columbia, and the foreword by Dr. Badia. He is a professor at Stanford.
Okay.
These are legit experts, okay? They didn't work for the CDC or the NIH, but the job of a journalist is to always start from a place of skepticism toward those in government.
There's no question about it. And when we went down and it started to change, I wish that I had been more aggressive about that, and I wasn't, because I didn't see it. Now, I've had a lot of time to read into this, especially because of my own sickness. And I see things that most people still don't know and haven't been reported on. I'm one of the only people who reports on long COVID. I'm sorry you were an asshole.
Not bad. Not bad.
My point is this. My point is this. I don't need to have these conversations. They don't particularly rate well. I get a lot of criticism from people in power. I get.
Good. That should be a badge of honor, man. You're a newsman, right?
It depends on the look. You don't know me, okay? The idea that I am conflict averse is silly. The idea that I don't test power is silly. What I'm talking about here is you are pretending, because you can. You have the luxury of not worrying about what happens when you say what you say. I work for a place that will get a phone call from someone that they care about, okay? It will matter to them. And you can say, well, they work for this 3-letter agency that are all, you know, bad
Chris,
people.
if I had, let me tell you something. This is what's really infuriating about you saying that, right? I understand the pressures at CNN where powerful people could make a phone call and then you could be in a lot of trouble.
No, it's just an accountability proposition.
Here, let's talk accountability. If I had your track record on COVID, I'd be out of business. Period. No one would listen to me anymore. I would have no way of making money.
I would argue the reverse.
I'd be ruined.
I would argue the reverse.
Absolutely ruined.
If you didn't tell people that there were easy ways to get past COVID and that the vaccine was a joke and everything that happened was a joke, I don't think you'd be in business. I think if you weren't doing these things, I don't think you'd have the same platform because it sells very well in digital media.
No, I mean, it's just, first off, I never said the things that you just said. The thing is that, yes, you're right. Me being against lockdowns, against mandates, against the corruption of big pharma, again, yes, that did help me.
No, and the
sure.
vaccine. You don't think people should have taken the vaccine.
I already said that I do think there was a group of people early on who should have taken the vaccine.
But what is that group?
I said already, I'll say it. I think old, sick people who had never had COVID.
And the people who were with them?
No, I don't agree with that.
Really?
But I think there was a strong argument for that demographic. By the way, old, sick people who had COVID, probably unnecessary to take the vaccine. Your likelihood of dying after you had already beat COVID once plummeted way, way down. Natural immunity is stronger than the vaccine, as it is with almost all
And by
vaccines.
the way, it's interesting.
All of the studies show that hybrid immunity, which is having gotten it from the virus and also having the vaccine, is the best level of immunity. That's what the research says.
It's not true.
That's what the research says.
Yes, but to say what you're saying, my dad, when we were talking as a family on who should take the vaccine, should not, what are you going to be doing? Here's what we're doing. I'm not taking it. Wife's not taking it. Kids are not taking it. My dad, who's a conservative, took it. And he was 78 or 79 at the time when he took it. I think something like that, right? 4 years ago. He took it, and he got the boosters. 2 years later, he got COVID and pneumonia at the same time at 80 years old. Literally. Do you remember that when he got COVID and pneumonia? How bad was it? Yeah, he was bad. But guess what? He's here with us at 82.
He's strong.
So there's a part of it, I agree. The fact that, for a certain section of a community,
Well,
I
listen,
think it
but
was...
and that's a good point, Pat, but here's the thing, in the real world, what was going on, during all those clips that you were showing of them demonizing the unvaccinated, this was, again, to put this in the time frame here, right, this was after the rollout, okay? So after the vaccine was made accessible for everybody in America, and they really did make it very accessible for everybody, and then not enough people were getting the vaccine, and then they started pushing employer mandates and things like that. Ultimately, Joe Biden lost at the Supreme Court with his OSHA mandate, which would have made every mid-size and big company force their employees to get vaccinated. Okay, but at about this point, when there's still some people being hesitant, that's when you see everybody demonizing the unvaccinated. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. When they started rolling these things out, okay, so I know someone, a family friend, right? This is a kid who was at a grad school, 25, something like that at the time. They forced him to get double vaccinated, and then the next year they forced him to get boosted a month after he had had COVID. This is a healthy 25-year-old. And so, you could talk about, if you want to split hairs, about the people living with a vulnerable person. No, I think if that vulnerable person got vaccinated, that's enough. But there's just no scientific argument in the world why a 25-year-old kid who is already double jabbed, who just had COVID, a month later should get a booster. And yet, on CNN and all the other major networks, they made it seem like that wasn't even a thing. It was just, you're a bonehead, you're an idiot, you're what's ruining this country. And the craziest thing about it was that they were blaming the unvaccinated for why you don't have freedom anymore. They're the reason why all the rest of you guys can't enjoy your freedom, when the reality is, the reason the rest of us couldn't enjoy our freedom was because of the corrupt government who was doing this to us for no reason. And man, it just would have...
But that's not true.
No, I know it's 100% true.
No, that's how you feel.
No, that's what I believe is true.
They did have a basis for why they were doing it. They believed that the numbers weren't coming down fast enough. They believed that if they didn't get a certain vaccination rate, that it would stay that way and continue to kill people that they didn't want to die. So they pushed it. Now, you can say I disagree with their findings. That's even more reason to have it all reviewed. I'm sorry, Dave. I don't mean it to be condescending or insulting. I don't mean it that way. But you can't really have the confidence that you know all the answers, and there's no reason for anybody to tell you any different. I don't agree with that. There are better answers out there that we aren't getting, and COVID is still making people sick. There's a variant flying through Asia right now that's more contagious than they thought it was going to be. It's going to wind up coming back here. I'm not saying there's going to be anything like what we lived through already. There's no will for it, and no politician is going to put themselves into a position where no one's going to comply. But people are going to get sick in your life, okay? And not from COVID. I'm saying from what happened to them a year ago, 2 years ago. Maybe it's the vaccine. Definitely from the virus. Maybe from the vaccine. They're going to get sick. We are not working on therapeutics at the rate. They are not putting the money into research. There are databases, but they are not on it the way you would think they'd be on it. And a big reason is because of this divide. They don't want to engage with a population that they believe is just antagonistic. So much so that even though, and look, all due respect, I don't care who you vote for, the anti-vax Trump supporter correlation is very strong, okay? But his people don't have this conversation with you. You don't have anyone, even Marjorie Taylor Greene is not saying, and yeah, let's not forget about that vaccine. Let's start talking about that now. None of them. And that's what matters to me. You want to blame me? Fine. Good. Good for you. What I'm saying is, what matters to me is that the things that need to be done are not going to happen. If Trump wins, I don't think it happens. If Biden wins, I don't think it happens. And that's why I think there has to be public will for this. So you can be angry. I think it's a great motivator in this situation. There are plenty of things that I think you should be angry about. But what are you going to do about it? The only way you can get any of this rectified is by having a body that has to be respected, put out the findings. Some of them will match Dave's, some of them won't. And that next time, here are your things, you can't do this, forget the WHO, we got to get our own pandemic board back, and here are the kind of people who should be on it. Whatever they come up with, that's the only way. Otherwise, you know the old quote, right? What happens to people who don't learn the lessons? They'll repeat them.
Yeah, well, I sure do agree with that. I think that look, the silver lining in all of this is that trust in corporate media is at an all-time low. Trust in every other institution in this country has evaporated. And the truth is that you'll never be able to do this to us again because we simply won't let you. People won't believe it next time. And
what is trust high in America today? What is trust high in?
I'm not exactly sure what you're asking.
He's saying if trust is not high in media and the government,
what is it high in?
Oh, well, I think that there's tremendous trust in the alternative internet media landscape.
No,
yeah, absolutely. There is.
Listen, I'm not saying there shouldn't be. I'm
Look,
saying,
Chris, you could just look at the market on this. Look at the numbers Joe Rogan gets versus the numbers CNN gets. Way more people have flocked over to him than are watching CNN because they trust him.
Look, I'm happy. I'm happy for Joe Rogan's success. Good for him. The highest rated thing in media, and let's just put it all in one basket, you've got the nightly news that was supposed to be dead 20 years ago, still gets 9 million people a night. So the idea that nobody cares about that, obviously they do, they're watching. What I'm saying is
versus
this.
40 million. Used to be a lot more than 9 million.
Yeah, but you measure that over a month.
No, I get that.
Not one day.
No. Cronkite used to be the,
Oh, there's no question. It's stratifying. It's changing. And I think that's good. I think it's good.
I mean, I think that...
I'm saying that there's no trust in anything.
No, I don't think you're right. I mean, I think that... I mean, I don't know that I have, like, polling data on this, but I'd imagine if I could poll the Valuetainment audience, there'd be tremendously high trust in Patrick Bet David. I'd imagine if you could poll my audience, they would be tremendously high trust in me. That's not true. And look, I understand kind of not wanting to deal with that because it's uncomfortable when you were one of the main guys in an industry as trust totally cratered in that industry. But you can look at this on a poll. Trust in media is at an all-time low.
Trust has been low in media since the Vietnam War. That was the turning point.
You can look at these Gallup polls.
It's gotten lower and lower.
Pull up the other one. Not even this one. There's another one. No, it's not. It's at 23, 27 right
I think
now.
it's lower than that. I think
it's ever been like.
It may be the lowest, but I think it's lower than that. But the point is, it's low in everything. It's low in everything, and there's a difference between a fan base and brand respect.
No, I don't think that's how life works. I think here's how life works. You got your mom and dad when your parents go through a divorce. At the time, one paints a picture of the other person that you buy into, and the other person doesn't say shit. For 15 years, you think this is a bad person. 15 years later, you realize this person was full of shit. This person's trust is lost. This person's trust is gained. Trust moves. Trust doesn't stay and just disappear 100% against everybody.
Find a graph that shows what has increased trust, spiking trust.
By the way, let me show you this. I want to show you this. I asked you guys a question about the black vote, why it's gone from 9 to 22, and I showed you the one clip. I want to show you the second clip. I want you to see this here. This is Bronx. It's not all black. You got Dominican, Puerto Rican, a lot of that. This is last week, Rob.
Got whites, got Asians.
I want you to watch this clip. I want you to watch this clip real quick, and then we can come back to last thing, because we have 20 minutes left. I do want to hit immigration, because I want to show you guys one clip to get your feedback on. Rob, if you got the clip I texted you, just play the clip. I texted it to you a few minutes ago. I'll put a thumbs up on it. I want you to play. It's a tweet, Chicago One Ray. Chicago One Ray is a tweet. Go ahead and play this clip. Watch this, folks.
If President Trump came here to the South Bronx, would you attend the rally?
Of course. I would want to meet Trump. I want to shake his hand. He's the only president that I see that can ever make America great again. He's capable of doing that.
I would love to go to a rally with Donald Trump come, because I'm a big Donald Trump supporter, and I would support him 100%.
Oh, yeah, definitely we're going to show him love. We're going to show him a lot of love, and, you know, like they do in other states. We definitely need to see Trump here.
There's nothing but love for Donald Trump here in the South Bronx, the North Bronx, the East Bronx, and the West Bronx.
So, tell me...
We want Trump to come back. Please, bro. Biden, get out of here, bro. I would come to the rally and support Trump, because the Bronx need a change, and we need somebody that's really going to help this community.
I would definitely come to a Trump rally in the South Bronx. I like him.
You do?
Yes.
Yes, I will come to a rally if President Trump was to come to the Bronx, and I also would bring other people to come too and support him.
Would Joe Biden get a warm reception if he came to the Bronx?
No, he wouldn't have. And I'll make sure of that.
Reporting for Newsnet from the South Bronx, New York.
And by the way,
Chernobyl.
obviously, we all know, according to Biden, none of these people were black. You know that, right? I just want to make sure you know this.
That's a good point.
It's a delusion.
Just a bunch of white people.
No, it's a bunch of white
hating on
people
Biden.
in Bronx.
Yep.
Of course it is. If you're watching this, the way you get to vote for today's debate so far, because we got a bunch of other issues we got to talk about right now with Trump, convicted felon, migration, dual citizenship. I'm not done. We're just getting started right now. You get to vote by sending a Manect to Dave Smith and to Chris Cuomo. If you can put their Manect up, ask him any questions, anything you agreed with, disagreed with, papers, articles, whatever it is. This is the way to get connected with them. They're both on Manect, and they actually get back to people very quickly.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.